I also then finished FF9. Ooh.
Hey.
Yeah, that's another one down. So I've basically been
Are,
going
are you are you going through all of them that you have not finished? Is that
not all of them, but I just wanted to go through a couple of them that I hear are really good, and that
okay?
I wanted to figure out like what the deal is. Right, a lot of people talked a lot about FF6, so I went back and I went through it for the first time not too long ago. And then the next one up, what I hear a lot of good things about was 9, and yeah, in the middle of that, 16 came out, so we detoured from 16, finished it, and then came back to 9, and now I just wrapped that up as well. That's a real fun game. I really like. Yeah, I can definitely see how these two in particular, 6 and 9 are in particular. Like I'm seeing the things that like people love about it. The cast is very just fun to hang out with. When you have a good party, like
Yeah, yeah.
you can just go as many adventures and discs as and do whatever you want like time wise because hanging out with them is a lot of fun.
I love six. I love six a lot.
6 hit, man. I
Yeah.
definitely walked away going like I fucking get it. Now I did play the Pixel remaster, so for the improvements that were made there, I do know that it was a smoother experience.
The game was 20 fucking years old at that point. I think that's more than
Right.
fair.
Yeah,
That's fair.
I've been told by a couple people that they're like, Willie, just remember you didn't play the original experience, you know. So I'm like, yeah, no, fair enough. Right?
Yeah, minor.
But yeah, like in this particular case, like it's now loud and clear why the main thing anyone talks about is Vivi. Vivi
Oh, yeah.
is just the best. What a
He's
character.
the star, man.
Yeah, yeah. And like he's the star with the and like, just every time we go to find out a little bit more about him or he does something or stuff, it's just like what a fucking just I just wish all the good things for Vivi. You just want like man, like what a just great taking the themes of the game and like embodying them in a really strong way. And so like that's kind of to the point where there's I mean, yeah, I'll try to I'll talk around it just in case anyone is going to go through FF9, but like there's points where like learning about Vivi's story and how he handles the like horrible things in life and stuff are just like so endearing. And you get to watch I guess the stark contrast of like other of your main character going through similar things, and I'm like waiting for Zidane to just please relate to Vivi, please just
Yeah, yeah,
acknowledge
yeah.
him, and it took a while. Go ahead.
Vivi's kind of like a proto Emil from Nier.
Yeah, I can see it.
I can see
Yeah,
it.
I
I can
it.
see it. Yep.
Like now, and I'm only thinking of this just now as you're talking about it. I was like, man, it's very like theme wise and kind of vibe wise. It's very similar.
Yeah.
Not obviously not the exact story, but like kind of the way that the character functions in the group
Yeah.
and in the story. Kind of similar.
Definitely that vibe. And like there's a lot of situations where the kid characters can be fucking annoying. In this particular case, like Vivi was the best, and like when you meet Aiko as well up front, I was like, okay, who's this child? What are you up
She's
to?
the person who's going to fucking carry you to victory.
Yeah, she is. And I was like, okay, hard carry kids once again. So Realm and Gao in 6 just fucking did it because they functionally were the best there. And like, yeah, same kind of vibe here, right? I'm like, by the end, I'm like, you're okay, get in. They were great. And I think yeah, but like that's it. You're going through it. I'm like Zidane, please just turn to your friend here and like acknowledge that you get it, And he eventually sort of does, and I was like, okay, he got it in there before the buzzer. I wish he had a little bit more to say to him, towards the end of the game and all, but it definitely feels like the everything about like Vivi's tale is like the most elaborated on. It's developed in a really good way, and Garnet's as well. I also, looking back at it too, like there's a bunch of shit where you're like, yep, mechanically, someone was on meth designing Tetramaster. I don't know what the fuck happened, as we've talked about.
It intentionally obscures rules for you, and there's no way to actually dig them out of the fucking game. You just have to intuit it out of nothing.
How do we one up Triple Triad? We can't, is the answer. End of story. It's just the card game is deep, says the game. And
I'm convinced people in FF9 also don't know how to play Tetramaster.
There's also a bunch of it that is like pretty fucking dated for sure. Like some of the obtuseness of some of the puzzles, some of the obtuseness of the systems, and things that you have to kind of figure out to, you know, unlock extra scenes and stuff. There's a lot of like admissible content that's very just like, yeah, you'd have no way of knowing. And a lot of that has been kind of relegated to people going, yeah, buy the guide, idiot. You know, that was just kind of the era
FF9
at the time.
came out alongside like this very specific era of the guidebook shit becoming like
mandatory,
integrating into the game in a really bad way.
It was part of the game, yeah.
And I think too that like, God, I wanted Amaranth to be so cool because of his design. And he kind of just ends up being this weird, like, nothing. And his neck is weird. And I was like, oh.
Don't worry about it.
Yeah. You know, it's just the and even going back to the, like, Amano version of him as well, like, he looks so fucking rad. I don't know what the fuck happened in the transition to 3D there, but he ends up being kind of weird. And there's a lot of the characters, too, where I was kind of hoping I'm like, a little, like one or two more scenes with them focused on their individual like bits would have been wonderful. Like Steiner is a really good character who like he takes so long to like come around in the game because he's so duty bound, and you're like, he has to go through these, you know, has like how many moments of dude wake up do you have to kind of get through?
A lot.
Yeah, and he does, and I kind of feel like we just needed one more like thing to kind of show you like, oh, he's fully gotten it, and like now without a thought he's gonna just do the right thing here, you know. Like I kind of like, I feel like they're just a little like your S-Link 10 little scenes, you know. I think for some of the characters would have been nice to have, but yeah, overall a very just a fun, charming world. And it's very clear too that a lot of it is send ups to FF1 that are going back now, like I know that FF1 gets referenced a lot in a couple of different things, right? Well, it comes back in Strangers of Paradise and in 14, and in you know, I mean, Dissidia and stuff have come out since. But if I'm not mistaken, I think maybe at the time 9 came out, this was one of the first times that 1 was being.
Well, 9 was
so
specifically calling
right?
back like a shit ton of stuff. Like a lot of the game's music is remixes of older tracks.
The music too. Wow. Okay.
Like there's a really the easiest example to be like, oh, that is just a direct rip, is that when you crash the airship into the forest at the very beginning of the game, the next scene has the fucking parade music from FF7 playing.
Yeah, absolutely. They literally play the parade theme. But and then like you're using your Warriors of Light, you have all your classes, and then you're fighting against, there's the FF1 bosses too towards the end. There's literally a Garland, like it's all just, you know, being worn very clearly on its sleeve. I think some of those, like the advent of the summons, they were like really high on their own farts at this point in time for sure, because the summons in 7 were nuts, you know, Lights of the Round, etc. And then 8 goes through the moon. So like, how do we one that up? And here you get a fucking full on insane airship transforming into a mecha sequence that lasts. It felt like a minute, you know, maybe or so. And then after the biggest ray from heaven insane beam charge transformation henshin sequence, it does like 6K. It's like, yeah, it was all right.
Yeah.
Decent.
It just
damage.
wanted to warm you up for the summons in 10.
I feel like somebody really strongly agrees with you on that, because Arc became Cruise Chaser, and then Cruise Chaser got its comeuppance as a cool fucking thing much later in 14.
On. Okay. It's rad as shit. It's super awesome. Like seeing that unfold was like, oh yeah, that's the best summon in the game easily. It just hit for less than the average move that Kina is gonna make because
Hey, speaking of summons and damage and whatnot, last week you're like, so before I beat FF9, I'm gonna check out those super bosses, and I went, I don't know, Wooly, some of those might be pretty tough, and you went, nah, it's good. And so I've been like watching your channel every day to be like, when's the fucking Ozma fucking thumbnail? Oh, there it is. Oh, there it is.
Yeah. So Hades was a real fun one. Took a second crack at it, and then the hard carry kid Echo took it to the victory. It was a really hype finish for that. Ozma it was just to walk in and just give it an ocular pat down. You know what I mean?
I don't know if anyone like spoke to you at length and explained it, but like Ozma is objectively unfair.
Yep. I believe it was, we broke it down while we're going through, and it was described as like the hardest PlayStation 1 boss or something on the list of like literally just going outside of the game, outside of the genre, just one of the most insane, and when you go and you're like, oh, but the life bar is the same as a lot of the other super boss was. Okay, that's comparable. But it's like, yeah, this motherfucker just gets to act faster than you every time and will respond based on what you're doing. And it's literally Guile walking forward and doing flash kicks. You know what I mean?
Yeah, there are so you're using the Mowgli mod, which turns the game turn-based, right?
I turned it off though.
You turned it off?
Yeah.
Okay, because it's like a long-standing thing that Ozma is like actually uncompletable using that system, because you take a turn and then he takes a turn for free.
Yeah.
And then there's no way to hide your actions inside their attacks.
Yeah.
So no, we felt that right quick, and I was like, okay, this would require, well, one, getting your characters way up to over level 60, and then two, just rearranging their entire loadout to go have the anti-Ozma kit, Yeah. So I was like, okay, I get it, done. And so we moved on from there.
It's nice to see that. I can only speak to 14, but I believe Ozma has showed up in other incarnations. But every time Ozma is there, like Ozma is fucked.
It's fucking
when Ozma became a raid boss in Weeping City, it was like the one that you would spend 90 minutes on with a 24-man group and just abandon.
Okay.
Because it would just so like an order of magnitude harder than everything in its direct vicinity.
It stops being a video game.
Yeah.
So that that's there. And then we got the fucking Kuja theme is so solid. I fucking love it. Real strong boss music there. Kuja and the episode of Dragon Ball GT that is like that entire trance bit and stuff is it's cool. It's very simple. You know what I mean? There's nothing like I feel about the main plot line there that is like it's simple for what it is. It's not that deep, but it's fine. And I think it's interesting that like there's times where you're seeing as much the time spent on like some serious moments and like things about like the origins and the history and the world and all that. Like sometimes there's equal amounts spent on frog bits with Kina, or like the Oglop king who cheated on his wife. And it's like it dedicates equal amounts of time to like the goof as much as the actual plot and stuff. But
it's charming.
Yeah, it is. And in the end I was like, okay, I think I definitely get it. I can also see as well that if this was your first like RPG ever, or your first FF game ever, and you are perhaps 12 years old playing it, and you hit that "you're not alone" scene where the friends are kicking in to encourage you, you're going to pour everything, all of your emo heart into that moment and that character.
The first time you experience that moment in whatever RPG this is always going to hit really well.
Right, yeah. You're going to pour everything, and it's, and that's what it is. I think like, it's made for you to be that age and relate to it on that level, which is where I think a lot of people go like, yeah, this is my favorite and it's the best because of that.
I feel like 9 would be a really good first Final Fantasy if that was.
Well, and it incorporates so much of the earlier ones that it's like kind of like a here's the essence.
A celebration. Yeah, here's what Final Fantasy is about. Because Final Fantasy is weird in that obviously you can not play some, you can play them in any order, it doesn't matter. And for the most part, everybody started with a different one, depending on when you started playing it. I feel like 9 wasn't my first one, 10 was my first one.
Oh, that's real different.
Wow.
Yeah. So I feel like it almost changes how you look at the series as a whole, because I had 10 first, and then there was 10-2, and that was completely different. So I was like, I don't even fully understand Final Fantasy at this point.
I played FF1 first, so like I had the moment of like, the characters have names. Whoa!
There are people whose first FF is currently going to be 16, right? Like, to talk about how different and wild interpretations are going to be. And of course it wouldn't be FF, or would it, without who the fuck is that guy at the last second?
Who the fuck is that guy?
I don't know. Kill it. Some god. Okay, fine. Yeah. All right. Moving on. Just last second.
It's got time.
Entity for entity's sake. There's no negotiating with it.
It's weird. Apparently, it was supposed to be Hades.
Huh.
Which, like, is the same and makes way more sense. But they kind of swerved it at the end for some reason.
Well, it's also like, because if you're gonna give your villain, like, at the last possible second, a little bit of a, oh, I can relate to him, right? Then you got to have some evil beyond to be like, no, there's no relating to that. That's just unknowable. Leave it alone. Don't question it.
I mean, it's funny because we talked about Persona 3 earlier in the show, and Persona 3 does the absolute dead last second, here's your new guy, and it works. Works really well there.
Oh, yeah.
In a way that's better than 4, because 4 also does that.
Yes, yeah, but in 3 it's the best fucking thing, right?
In 3 it was watching you the whole time, and it's very evident.
Yeah, and then you get to FF10, and you're like, this is not working. This is a very big letdown as the final fight.
It's also, well, anyway, with 3 it's also like thematically with the entire system of the game and the arcana and shit, like
even the mythos,
comes together.
Three is my absolute favorite.
You know, there's something that happens, like with the games that we're talking about, is where you go like, yeah, I get it. I get where you were going for. I don't think you should have done that though.
It's right, the thing where a JRPG is such a long thing, right? There's so much stuff in it, and it's very easy to slip up at the end. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, it's very easy to kind of lose the plot.
To not stick the landing, yeah.
To not stick the landing, because there's so much, and you're gonna finish it because you've invested so much in it.
Yeah.
I've talked about this with Baldur's Gate, because the first act is so strong with how you can like find stuff and stumble upon stuff, and it loses that a little bit throughout. Like, it kind of becomes, because of your choices, and it's harder to kind of set you up in a way where you can kind of organically find stuff that has nothing to do with stuff that you haven't seen before. And I thought to myself, I was like, maybe is it better to try and switch that, where there's less in the beginning and then there's more at the end, right? Or you focus more on the end. And I don't think it is.
No.
Because if you do, then you don't play till the end. If you don't have that initial like thing that grabs you in the beginning, then you won't make it to the end. But if you do have a really strong beginning and middle, then if the end kind of peters out, you're not as mad about it.
I think that doesn't just work for RPGs. I think that works for everything, and it makes me think of Devil May Cry. So you'll play Devil May Cry 5, and you'll beat it, and you'll go, I'm going right back into New Game Plus. I'm going to do the harder difficulty, right? And then I'm going to finish off getting everything in my inventory, right? You ever play like a 360 or PS4 action game, and then like you beat the game and then the game is over, and you're like, you know what, that was a really great game, I would like to replay that, and then you go and start a new game and you didn't keep any of your fucking equipment, and you're like, oh, the first couple of levels of this game suck ass now.
Yeah.
You're terrible.
Yeah.
I can't do anything.
It's ruined.
Yeah. Rebuying
I used to
all your
hate
moves
that
and
when they
shit.
take away your skills. Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think just from the way we've been talking today, I'm gonna put a general warning up top on the pod and just be like, hey, we're gonna kind of lightly spoil a couple different things if you
Like
wanted to.
every game we've talked about is like decades old. I think we're like kind of in the clear on that.
Yeah, there were one or two that aren't, but I'll just throw something out there for everybody.
No, play everything immediately, and then you don't have to worry about spoilers.
That's not possible for anyone anymore.
It is
Everything, play everything all the time, right away. Or close your eyes and close your ears.
I can't.
The world
do
will
that.
spoil you.
I can't.
Yeah, like I'm not sure if that bit about Kiryu was or wasn't a thing, but I mean,
They put out a bucket list trailer on their YouTube channel.
did they?
last
Okay,
month.
okay,
Yeah.
fair enough.
No, they when Gaiden was coming out, they were like, wow, he smokes a lot
Okay,
in these trailers, and then every single Like a Dragon trailer has come for 8 has come out and be like, yeah, no, Kiryu's got the lung cancer.
gotcha.
He's
Okay.
very tired.
I wasn't sure. But on that to say that I think this is the latest I've ever seen a villain in anything have
It's
the slightest turn.
it's like the last like 10 minutes.
It's crazy. Like, I know that like I will we've gone hard on like the forgiveness thing coming up too much when it's undeserved, and you know, here you've got someone doing a human extinction attack, trying to kill 2 planets at once, you know, and you're like, yeah, but we can find the good somewhere in there, and it's like, man, like he already is collapsing and cursing you as he goes out, you didn't win. And just right with the last couple of breaths, it's like, but what if maybe good?
You know what? I think that's one of the reasons why Sephiroth lasted for so long. Cause like you're in the final seconds of the game and he's like, yeah, I did it. I'd do it again. I'd do it again all over. And now we have a fucking remake sequel in which he's like, yeah, I'm doing it again.
I'm gonna do it every time, no matter what.
God. It's just, you know what it is? It's that midriff. They needed to rehabilitate the midriff. The Adonis lines can't be evil. They're too perfect.
You can have a little bit of a villain turn if they're really evil, if your main character is also bad. So if your main character's history, right, is about turning from like having done bad things and then become a better person,
Yeah.
like maybe not genociding an entire planet,
Maybe not.
but like if the character's like through line is like, I'm gonna rehab these people or show them that like it's never too late to actually do the right thing, kind of thing, then that kind of works. But it's hard when you're just goody two shoes and you
Right,
at the last
right.
second.
Like
You
I
have
think
them
it
relate.
actually,
You have them relate. Yeah.
I think it
Yeah.
actually like kind of weirdly works in Devil May Cry because it's like you get a moment where this is the subtext that I've pulled out of it. But Virgil's like, well, listen, Dante, I can't just eat ice cream all day and be depressed. I don't like ice cream. I have to fight things.
Yeah. The whole like he was missing his brother during 2 bit is like, it would be nice if that became the real thing. It's pure fan canon, but it would be super sick if that was acknowledged at some point. Anyway. So yeah, that's gonna be wrapping up over on the channel soon.